Well, hello, here is Jay. Here he is, yeah. Anyway, welcome back to the Educated Retirement Show here on KMET and 1490 AM on your dial. And hopefully you're relaxing somewhere. Maybe you're just off of work, or maybe you're stuck on the freeway somewhere. I believe our stuck on freeway times are back these days. So welcome to it. I can put that over there. Thank you, Massinelli, handing me something from the space station. So, uh, welcome back, like I said, and I just wanted to show you a couple of books, or I guess one now. One went back to space. Uh, this great book by Retirement Planning Guidebook by Wade Pfau, PhD, CFA, RICP. A great. We talk about finance a lot here on the show when we have guests, especially. And this book covers about everything you want to know about finance when you're retired or getting retired, or even when you're young, preparing to get retired, or hopefully that you will get retired. But it also has a lot more going for it, too, like ways of life and other decisions you need to make in life. And, it's not just about finance. And the other great book we'll show you every once in a while is by Susan B. Geffen, and How to Secure an Independent Future for Yourself and Your Loved Ones. And I do speak quite a bit, and I'm present at a great deal of her seminars that she gave. She started giving some more in-person seminars throughout the Los Angeles and sometimes Orange County and sometimes even Ventura County. But she is absolutely amazing when it comes to taking care of elder care. She's an elder care attorney, trusts, this, that, whatever, but also problems, litigation, and conservatorships, and trying to solve problems between family members. As you know, not all family members get along, unfortunately. And as the parents get older, sometimes that can get worse. And we've had several people on the show talking about that. We're going to try to get some more on. Not that you have any problems, but things to look out for, especially with others also. But let's look a little bit at California these days, and we were talking about hobbies and staying busy and things. So I pulled this story up from Only in Your State, or Only in Southern California, and it's kind of personal because I love this place. And I will read. It sounds like I'm reading something. It's because I am. And it says, there's always plenty to do in Southern California, but if you're having trouble planning your next journey through our beautiful state, and I never am, check out the suggestions we've put together for you. We love discovering the best hidden gems and must-visit spots in the country. Now, that is a website which I would recommend you jump on and sign on to, and that's in onlyinurstate.com. And then you get to Southern California, Northern California, anywhere else. It says, and I will back this up, spend the night at a hotel that's inside a historic opera house right here in Southern California. It's not hard to have a unique adventure in Southern California's Death Valley. Well, that never is. And if you saw Zabriskie Point and didn't like it as much as I didn't, but at least you get this. Zabriskie Point itself is a beautiful spot. It looks like something you would expect to find on Mars, not on Earth. Do you remember those rock formations
Mm-hmm.
and all that? Anyway, although vast and largely desolate, we're not talking about my brain right now. There are plenty of one-of-a-kind destinations hiding in this remote landscape. For instance, it's a small town outside of Death Valley National Park where you'll find a historic opera house that doubles as a hotel. Spending the night inside this historic destination is a memorable experience. So definitely consider making it out of this corner of making it out to this corner of the desert for a night or more. Now, our own experiences, I showed you earlier NASA Nelly's photography work. And She did. At least I think there were two classes, or what do they call them, workshops out there, because of the various different landscapes and
Sand
the sand
dunes.
dunes and the rock formations.
And the lighting.
And the lighting was amazing. And of course, we had to be out there at 5 in the morning. And the best times to take some of the photography when it comes to lighting and effects is early in the morning as the sun's coming up, or late in the evening as the sun is going down. So we were out there a couple of times at least, spending several times each time. Now back then, none of the rooms had locks on them because nobody cared about that kind of thing, and nobody even gave it a second thought, right? But it was just beautiful. And I remember in the evenings and early mornings sitting outside in those chairs, like a lawn chair, but there wasn't much lawn. There were sand chairs. And I believe Vangelis just came out with Soil Festivities. And I used to have a portable CD player and speakers, and I'd set them up on the sand in front of us and sometimes smoke a cigar, but put on Soil Festivities. I can just hear it in my mind right now. Anyway, hiding out in eastern Inyo County, Armagosa Opera House and Hotel is a unique historic destination that's worthy of an adventure. Again, I'm reading from the article, doubling as both a performance venue and an eclectic hotel. It's a true gem in Death Valley. So look up Armagosa Opera House and Hotel. I believe it's on Facebook. I don't know if they have their own. They talk about just the Facebook. There may be another. I would assume there's another address also, but for sure I know that Armagosa, Amargosa Opera House and Hotel /Facebook. Let me show you a couple of pictures of how cool this is. This is a daytime picture. That's what it looks like now, and I'm pretty sure that's pretty much what it looked like back then. And that's what I mean about being able to sit out in front and listen to soil festivities. Here's a couple more just of the hotel. There's a nighttime view, a little different lighting, but great. Okay, and here's a little further away view, Armagosa Opera House. So there's a separate entrance for the hotel and the opera house, but they are connected. May I please? And just to show you an example of how the interior, and I believe that Marta Beckett did all the painting because she was an artist. Well, I'll get into her in just a moment or tell you about her. Here's what some of the interior looks like, and that is pretty amazing, you'll have to agree. So maybe I should have put this on Facebook so more people can see, but it will be on, of course, my site and the KMET site. Look at that. The whole place was kind of painted up like that. The Opera House is located in a town called Death Valley Junction, commonly known as Armagosa. That's home to just a handful of people. It doesn't have any restaurants, gas stations, or grocery stores. It's got a really old-looking gas station that's, just to look at. But it is home to the Armagosa Opera House and Hotel. This little town was actually, this I put in myself, was the Borax Company town, known for the 20 Mule team. In the olden days, they used to have company towns where, since most of the workers were right there, they would, provide shelter and places to buy. They could get part of their salary or return tokens for food, groceries, this or that. And I'm sure you all remember 20 Mule Team, especially from, our ex-president's Death Valley days. And you can stay in this historic opera house, and it'll certainly be something to remember. And I'd love to do it again. and it was built sometime between 1923 and 1925. The building was originally intended to accommodate visitors and potential investors of the town's mining company, which we know as borax. So you may not guess that it was actually very modern for its time, including amenities like central cooling, wow, heating, and bathroom skylights. I do remember that. So the Armagosa Opera House and Hotel was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1982, and staying there is like taking a trip back in time. The Opera House and its entire complex still boasts beautiful Spanish colonial revival architecture, plus what was added, as you saw that picture before. There's simply nothing else like it in Death Valley, and I don't think there's much like it anywhere on this planet. Armagosa Opera House and Hotel. Additional small touches like a guitar resting upon a chair or murals donning the walls just add to the hotel's charm. With 16 rooms for guests, the Armagosa Hotel welcomes travelers from all over the globe to its quiet and peaceful slice of the desert. So the hotel's rooms are simple but cozy. I guess today you'd call it a boutique hotel. After a day of exploring the desert, nothing feels better than drying off with soft, fluffy towels and falling asleep on some crisp bled linens. Across the street, the connected Armagosa campgrounds offers a more rustic experience for RV and tent cabin. But, you could do that, but why would you not want to, even if you got there in an RV, why would you not want to, unless you got a bunch of kids or whatever, why would you not want to stay in that hotel just for the experience, even one night? Now, Marta, M-A-R-T-A, Beckett, B-E-C-K-E-T-T, who was born 1924 and passed away in 2017, was the one that created this after Borax left. And she was an American dancer, painter, actress, and choreographer. She performed for more than 4 decades at her own theater, the Armagosa Opera House in Death Valley. Now, we saw several performances. Were they wonderful? Well, it was wonderful just because it was there and it was that. And it was, it wasn't nearly as professionally put on as some major theaters, but that's what made it more charming.
There were busfuls of people
coming. But yeah, there were busfuls of people coming for performances. So as I recall, those performances were pretty full and very popular. Excuse me a moment here. So Marta began ballet lessons at the age of 14 and became a ballerina. She was in the Corps de Ballet at Corps of Ballet, the Corps de Ballet at Radio City Music Hall, and on Broadway, she appeared in plays. She later took her one-woman show across the country, performing in small theaters and school auditoriums. In 1967, she and her husband drove on their way to an event in the desert, had a flat tire, how serendipity, and they discovered a theater in Death Valley Junction, which is where they stayed, and I'm glad they did. I know she was very happy there. She had about 300 cats, I think. Do you remember? They all had names, but they never got underfoot. I don't believe.
And the shows were just her and maybe one or two.
Yeah, the shows were just her and maybe one or two other people. I remember Tom, after her husband passed away, Tom kind of took his place as her partner, and he did a lot of the building, helping, and that kind of thing. He was like a stagehand and actor. But the complex was a recreation. It was a recreation, but it was definitely originally a recreation hall. Beckett rented the hall, began repairs, and changed the name to the Armagosa Opera House. Once the National Geographic and Life magazines discovered her doing performances, visitors from around the world would come to see her, including such as Ray Bradbury, Red Skelton, and many others. Like I said, busloads of people would come. She occupied the theater from 1968 till her death in 2017 at the age of 92. It's owned by her nonprofit organization and the entire town. The theater is still open and will be celebrating their 54th anniversary on February 12th of this year. That performance is sold out, but that doesn't mean you have to be there on that day. I would highly recommend this is on your bucket list, whether you want to do it now or wait till the COVID thing kind of floats away or gets lesser. This should be a must on your bucket list. In addition to its role as a hotel, the Armagosa Opera House continues to celebrate creative arts in the desert with performances. They also offer tours of the Opera House every day, and no reservations are required. And learn more by visiting that website that I mentioned earlier on. So, yeah, those are the pictures, and those are, I'm telling you, it was, I think about that quite a bit. And this article really brought it back to life, but I have been thinking of it from time to time and playing soil festivities, which I finally got on vinyl, by the way. Back then, I was only playing digital, but those days are gone, but Armagosa Opera House is still there. So who else was born around this time? John Hurt, January 22nd, 1940, and left us in 2017. And Sir John Vinson Hurt was an English actor whose career spanned over 5 decades. It doesn't seem like that long. And I was kind of really shocked to hear that he had died, because anyway, Hurt was born in Chesterfield, England, whose mother was an engineer and one-time actress, and father who was a mathematician who became a clergyman of Holy Trinity Church. He was sent to preparatory school in Kent and decided he wanted to become an actor. Once his family lived opposite a cinema, and he was not allowed to attend as films were frowned upon. And like most things that are frowned upon, it probably made him much more excited to go there. So he was encouraged to become an art teacher by his family. When he was 17, he enrolled in an art school and won a scholarship to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, where he trained for 2 years. I don't think the parents thought of art as dramatic art, but it is a dramatic term. His first major acting role was in A Man for All Seasons, 1966. In 1978, he appeared in Midnight Express and won a Golden Globe for that, and was nominated for Best Actor for Supporting Actor, that is, around the same time he voiced a part in the animated adaptation of Lord of the Rings. And I've got that record of the music. I remember going to see that with my son. I enjoyed it. I thought the music was really good. I got the record. It was a double LP. I got it at a barbershop/record store in the Arts District downtown LA several years ago. And of course, as you know, I couldn't find it fast enough for the show, but it's out there. And I just learned that he did some of the voicing for that. So after voicing other animated films like Watership Down, and as the deformed Joseph Merrick in The Elephant Man in 1980, he won a BAFTA, and that's the British Academy, basically the same thing as the Academy Awards in Britain, and was nominated for a Golden Globe and an Oscar for that performance. And then came the film Alien. This, to me, this is a joke. I like to think of Alien as his breakout film because, well, you know why. And his legendary character, Kane, not Citizen Kane, but Kane, the first victim of the alien life form. So John Hurt starred in close to 100 films. Can you believe that? Here's a short list of them. A Man for All Seasons, 1966, directed by Fred Zinnemann, Paul Scofield. Orson Welles was also in it. Paul Scofield was the man of all seasons. Thomas More. Orson Welles, Robert Shaw. The film nominated for 8 Oscars and won 6, including Best Picture. And, well, let's get to some pictures. Speaking of picture, here is what we all recognize, although he's quite a bit younger. You certainly recognize him right there. And actually a little bit younger than that right here. This is a smaller picture. And I think you can see it. And a little bit later in life right there. But still looking good, huh? And, of course, the Harry Potty, which he was really wonderful in, with the magic wands. And there he is. Anyway, here is A Man for All Seasons. I love this film. And, yeah, it's got everybody in it. Susanna York was also in it. Wendy Keller. Just a great... This is... this is a tape, but that's all I could find right away. And hopefully there will be a 4K version, because this is just an amazing film. And should definitely see it. And I remember at the time all my friends were poo-pooing me for liking that film so much, because they all loved Start the Revolution Without Me. I don't know if anybody remembers that film. They probably do. And it had what's-his-name in it from the second Body Snatchers and so many.
Donald Sutherland?
Donald Sutherland as a kid, pretty much. And it was a funny movie, but, you know, I'm thinking that A Man for All Seasons is a standout for all time. Midnight Express was director Alan Parka, starring Randy Quaid, Brad Davis, and the film was nominated for 6 awards and won 2. And, of course, that breakout film, Alien. Yes, and, of course, the soundtrack, too, of course. Soundtrack just came out on, I'm not sure whether it was Death Waltz or Mondo, one or the other. And I think it's a 45 also, really good. But, you know, who doesn't remember Alien? Directed by Ridley Scott, one of his 2 best that period, that and Blade Runner, and starred Sigourney Weaver, Ian Holm, Veronica Cartwright, which we call affectionately the Screamer, Harry Dean Stanton, Tom Skerritt. The film was nominated for 2 Oscars and won 1 for Best Effects. You know, it's hard to think only winning 2 Oscars, but it's probably one of the best, if not the best, sci-fi horror film ever made. And it just gets mixed up with so many horror films. No, it doesn't. That's not what I meant to say. It gets mixed up with science fiction films. You know, I went to see one of these American movie classic things with Mankiewicz, you know, film talking about it, and all he did was compare it with 2001. And these are science fiction films. This is a horror film. Whether it happens on a train, whether it happens in outer space, or in an airplane, like Snakes on a Plane, whatever. It's in a confined space, and it is a horror film, and that's the name of that tune. The Elephant Man, 1980, directed by David Lynch. Starred Anthony Hopkins and Bancroft, and the film was nominated for 8 Oscars, including Best Actor of John Hurt and Best Picture. Did he win for that? I think he did, right? And here is a picture of him. And no, you can't really tell it's him, but that was his makeup. But still, he had to do the acting so you could tell. And it's one of the better David Lynch films. But you know, I do love David Lynch. Except the new Dune is so much better, in my opinion, than the David Lynch version, which just didn't make it. But you know, so be it. It's not an easy film to put on. You know, to put into a movie version. What's that?
We saw the play.
Oh, we saw the play Elephant Man too at South Coast Repertory Theater. So there. And before we go any further, let's take a quick break. And don't go away though, because we'll be back in just a quick minute. Take care. And welcome back to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET, your home for great talk, entertainment, some sports, and I think some major sports too, right, Sean? Because of the ABC affiliation.
Not necessarily because of them. No.
But do you do any major sports events? I know you do
Um,
all of the local stuff.
we just cover like the Rams and stuff like that. That's about as
Well, the Rams, that's fairly
major as we
major, I
get.
think. So I guess they've been doing a little bit gooder. Anyway, let's get back to John Hurt and the next film he was in, Dead Man, in 1995, directed by Jim Jeremus, starring Johnny Depp, Gabriel Bryan, and Robert Mitchum. Oh, Robert Mitchum. I guess we don't have that disc to show him singing. Excuse me, Calypso. Gabriel Bryan, I think, is overlooked a lot. I think he's a very good actor. In any case, we're getting more into Jim Jeremus in the future here. Contact, 1997, was directed by Robert Zemeckis, starred Jodie Foster, Matthew McConaughey, Tom Skerritt, and film nominated for 1 Oscar. And then there is the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone in 2001. I can't believe it was that long ago. Yeah, let me see that. I'm sorry. Sorry. Contact. I think we've shown this before. And there you go for that. And back there. And I love those. Boy, look at that go. I love that. Talking about the fire in the fireplace. No, the house is still here. Anyway, love that array of antennas. I think that's the one in New Mexico, but now there's another one in Northern California for, for reaching. What's the name of that group? I don't know why yeah, but anyway, trying to get a hold of people from other planets. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone 2001 was directed by Chris Columbus and starred the regular Harry Potter cast. And I can talk all about which ones are my favorite, which ones are yours. I don't know. The first 3, I think, are better than all the others. And of course, the third one, Prisoner of Azkaban, was directed by Curzon, who did what I think one of the best films ever made, Children of Men, and one of the most popular ones, Gravity. Anyway, Hellboy 2004, directed by Guillermo del Toro, who I love, Guillermo del Toro, and starred Ron Perlman, who is great, and Selma Blair. Remember him coming out of oh no, that was a different one. He played Hellboy in this. That's Hellboy 2, but Hellboy 1's hanging around here too somewhere. There is a Hellboy 3. Anyway, V for Vendetta 2005, directed by James McTeague, MC, and then Teique. I see his name quite a bit, but hadn't had a chance to pronounce it. And that starred Natalie Portman, Hugo Weaving, and that's another really super duper, I think, film, and also a super duper these are graphic novels, and I really like graphic novels. This is
like a comic book.
Well, it's it's got the format of a comic book, but my God, it is just great. Especially Alan Moore, David Lloyd did the drawings. Alan Moore is just a fantastic writer, and also did the only one that's better than this, but not by far, is Watchmen. And that's just amazing. You should really, whether you like the movie or not, I did, you should read that graphic novel. It's quite an experience, and it's on all of the lists of, amongst the 100 best novels of the 20th century. So who else has a birthday? Michio Kaku. And he was actually born on the 24th in 1947, so he's just a kid compared to me. And let's take a look at him. Thither he is. Michio Kaku. I think you've probably seen him on television in a lot of different. There he is a little bit later in life, but not quite up to date yet. And well, the other one here. This is a good one, showing him more lately. I like all this stuff in the background. I can't tell you what it says. Maybe it doesn't say anything, but it looks good, right? Right. And here's another picture of him. This is a really good picture, full page. And this is pretty much what he seems to look like, because he is, a regular on all of these science and paranormal shows that are so popular today on television. So Dr. Michio Kaku is an American theoretical physicist, futurist, and popularizer of science who is a professor of theoretical physics in the City College of University of New York. And Kaku was born in San Jose, California. He said his grandfather had come to the U.S. to do the cleanup operation after the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, and his father and mother were both born in California. Kaku was inspired to pursue a career in physics after seeing a photograph of Albert Einstein's desk. Boy, you should see what this desk looks like, but I'm not in their category. At the time of his death of Albert Einstein, that is, he was fascinated to learn that Einstein had been unable to complete his unified field theory and resolved to dedicate his life to solving this theory. And of course, nobody has for sure done that by now. By the time he was in high school, he had developed a strong passion for physics. For a science fair, he built an atom smasher. Wow. Which you think is a toy, but in his parents' garage using scrap metal and 22 miles of wire. 22 miles of wire. He created a magnetic field by winding that wire 20,000 times stronger than Earth's, as well collisions powerful enough to produce antimatter. Wow. It was displayed at the National Science Fair in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and he attracted the attention of physicist Edward Teller, who took him as a protege, awarding him the Hertz Engineering Scholarship. I got a lot to say about Teller, but I ain't going to get into it now. Anyway, Kaku graduated from Harvard, attended the Berkeley Radiation Laboratory at the University of California, Berkeley, receiving a PhD and holding a lectureship at Princeton. Between 1970 and 2000, he had papers published in journals covering topics such as superstring theory, supergravity, and supersymmetry. He is also the author of several textbooks on string theory and quantum field theory. String theory, or M theory, I kind of like the multiple universe parts of it, because I know that in at least one, since there's an infinite number of parallel universes according to those theories, some of those theories, I am a good-looking person in one of those. And I guess I'm the president of the United States in another one, and I'm a crook in another one, and, whatever. But I'm kind of happy enough to be right here. But I guess there's no way to jump from one to the other, at least that we know of right now. And he is the author of several books about physics and has made frequent appearances on radio, television, and film, which we just talked about, for his efforts to bring science and science fiction. He's been awarded the Sir Arthur Clarke Lifetime Achievement Award in 2021. Here's one of his books, and this is... Got this in Morro Bay, by the way. I believe this may not be his specific field. I believe his daughter, though, is a PhD in this specific field. But we don't need it. In any case, he's brilliant. He's a great writer, and he's a great futurist. And here are some of Kaku quotes. The brain weighs only 3 pounds, yet is the most complex object in the solar system. We'll see. We'll get to see that, but he has to solve the theory first. To understand the difficulty of predicting the next 100 years, we have to appreciate the difficulty that the people of 1900 had in predicting the world of 2000, reminding us that our cell phones today have more computer power than all of NASA when it put 2 men on the moon in 1969. We need to get Chris Bissonette back on the show so that we can discuss whether we actually landed there or not. Again, I think we did, but so be it. Anyway, I just real quickly some of the civilization levels that he talks about on so many of these shows. Civilization, whether it's level 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. I think there's 4. Maybe there's 5. I think there's 4. And we are, well, there's 4 plus 0, which we are. Now, in order to be level 1, we have to have a one world government. And for number 2, which we need to have the ability to get power and from our entire, from the sun. And another one is the level of the having the power of the solar system, and beyond that, the level of the Milky Way, beyond that of the entire universe. And of course, we've got so many people that are so upset about a one world government, but who knows how that one world government will turn out. For one thing, it doesn't have to be bad, but I think humans have to change a bit before that can happen. But if we want to get to those levels of civilization, like there is in Star Trek and so many other films that we all love, we need to get together, don't we? So who else was born on January 22nd, 1953, just a kid, is Jim Jeremus, who I believe we talked about him once before. But James Robert Jerimosh is an American film director, screenwriter, actor, producer, and composer. He was born in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. His mother was a reviewer of film and theater before she married, and his father a businessman who worked for the B.F. Goodrich Company. And his mother introduced Jeremish to cinema by leaving him at a local cinema to watch matinee double features such as Attack of the Crab Monsters and Creature of the Black Lagoon while she ran errands. He recalls that the film Thunder Road, 1958, starring Robert Mitchum, the guy that we all know from Singing Calypso, made an impression on him when he was 7, as well as a television show, Ghoulardi, that featured horror films. And as you know, Ghoulardi, we've talked about him when we talked about his less famous son. The director, Paul Thomas Anderson, is the son of, not the son of Dracula or the son of Frankenstein, but the son of Ghoulardi. And we can talk about him more in another thing, but he's kind of like in his day, like Svengoolie is. You know what's on Svengoolie next week?
You mean
or
tomorrow?
Wow.
Earth versus the Flying Saucers.
Oh, Earth versus the Flying Saucers, which I've seen 100 times, but that's okay. And anyway, he was an avid reader. He and his friends would steal the records and books of their older siblings, which included some of the people we've talked about quite a bit on this show, William Burroughs, Jack Kerouac, and the Mothers of Invention. And they would make fake IDs, which allowed them to visit bars and the local art house cinema that showed underground films. And this is what Tom Waits had to say about Jim Jeremus. He went gray when he was 15. As a result, that means his hair, he always felt like an immigrant in the teenage world. He has been an immigrant and fascinated foreigner ever since, and all his films are about that. So let's get a couple of quick pictures in. There's one, and here is another. Okay, looks too serious there. So Jim graduated from Columbia University, was broke and worked as a musician in New York City, applied to film school, In his final year, he worked as an assistant to director Nicholas Ray. Lucky him. Jim's first major film was Stranger Than Paradise. And I got it here somewhere. Well, you know what? That's why it was further down, because it was going to be in the list, but we'll get to it now. Again, here is a tape of it. This is one of the first way back. This is such a good film, and I've seen it I don't know how many times. It's also not only talked about. This is a book about maverick filmmakers in recent American cinema. Coen brothers, things like that. Jim Jeremus, Spike Lee, David Lynch, Steven Soderbergh, Quentin Tarantino, a lot of people like that. And of course, the name of the book is Stranger Than Paradise. And there's a picture from that film on the back even. But I think that's quite a compliment to have that as the name of a book that covers everybody from Coen Brothers to Quentin Tarantino and that kind of thing. So it's a deadpan comedy recounting a strange journey of three disillusioned youths from New York through Cleveland to Florida. It was awarded the Camera d'Or at the 1984 Cannes Film Festival and became a landmark work in modern independent film. Jeremus became an influential representative of the trend of the American road film. His films were embraced by art house audiences, gaining a small but dedicated American following, of which we are a part, and cult status in Europe and Japan. And Jim made over 25 films, and he's a member of the rock band Squirrel. And we talked about squirrels earlier. It's National Squirrel Day. From New York City, which he's said to have distorted guitars, cassette recorders, loops, molten stone core, chopped and screwed hip-hop, okay? Jim also is a founding member of the Society Sons of Lee Marvin, and we've talked about that at length several times. And if you look like you could be the son of Lee Marvin, then you are instantly thought of by the Sons of Lee Marvin to be a son of Lee Marvin. The group includes Tom Waits, John Lurie, Nick Cave, Iggy Pop, Josh Brolin, Neil Young, and others. The Society meets occasionally to watch Lee Marvin films together. Here's a short list of the films. Stranger Than Paradise, 1984, which we did talk about, and that starred John Lurie, Esther, spelled Esther Balint, Richard Edson, and I'm going to show you, this is fun. This is John Lurie back then. John Lurie played a mean saxophone, probably still does, and he was the guest on, I think, was probably the last Anthony Bourdain show, and it showed, it was really great, but, I don't want to get into Anthony Bourdain at this point in time, but John Lurie was part of a group called the Lounge Lizards. Really great stuff, I think. There's one album. There's a second album. Well, I know some of these names are probably not familiar to everyone, but yeah. There's another one. And Europa Records on that one. Who did this one? I'm not sure. This is, anyway, No Pain for Cakes. Okay. And there's another, Lounge Lizards. And just to show you a picture of Jim and Tom Waits. I don't know, do they look like the sons of Lee Marvin? I hope they can sing better. I know Tom Waits can. I love Tom Waits. There you go. All right. Down by Law, 1986, starred Tom Waits, John Lurie again, and Ellen Barkin. And Dead Man, 1995, starred Johnny Depp, John Hurt, which we talked about before, Gabriel Bryan, Robert Mitchum, no, not singing Calypso. Lance Hendrickson, Billy Bob Thornton. And here is oh yeah, it's a laser disc of that, but it's got, it's got the big picture anyway. So Jim Jeremush's best movie, it says. I don't know if it was or not. They're all a bunch of good ones. But there we go. Written and directed by James Jeremush. And Coffee and Cigarettes, 2003, starred Tom Waits again, Iggy Pop, Bill Murphy, and Alfred Molina, who got speared in the first Indiana Jones movie, and I was glad to see how he made a career after that, even though he was dead then. But before we sign off, and I hope it's been interesting, some of these facts, we didn't get into reverse mortgages, but that's okay. Etta James was born 1925 and 1938 and passed away in 2012. She was an American singer and winner of 6 Grammy Awards and inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Grammy Hall of Fame, and the Blues Hall of Fame. And Nasa Nellie and I saw her several times at a place called Vine Street Bar and Grill, which is no longer there. And what I remember is each time, because we were sometimes waiting in line outside, we would see an older model Cadillac pull up to the curb. She would get out and walk in, and I guess afterwards that Cadillac would come back and pick her up. I assume that was her husband or whatever, but it was cool. Seeing her in person was always a great experience and a great honor. And who else was born on the 22nd? And we don't need to talk to him about him too much because he's everywhere. 1968, restaurateur and Emmy Award-winning television presenter Guy Fieri. Linda Blair, I want to get this in before we go on. Actress most known for starring in the film The Exorcist. Okay, I got some. Well, I'll show you this, as you all know. Okay, we only got a minute, but I got to show you.
You got it that.
Well,
sure.
both,
Yeah,
one to the other. There's a couple of autographs. And then, of course, this one, which says Pleasant Dreams, signed by Linda Blair. So I'll sign off with that. And thank you so much for being here the last 2 hours, or any part that you could. Everybody have a great rest of Friday and weekend. And please stay safe and stay productive. And remember, Jay will be on the same corner in front of the cigar store next week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.